In Colorado, we have a growing problem, and I was out recently this last weekend in a place that I had frequented before, where there was definitely a homeless population and congregation. But I will tell you that it was 10 to 15x the amount of people that were in this location that appeared to me as transient, homeless, unsheltered, whatever you want to call them. We're not here to debate that. We're here to talk about the rising problem that we're having, hopefully give some insight on getting involved and maybe getting ahead of the curve on this problem, as well as some other advocacy things and some give back that we can do in our community to help solve this problem that we have. What's up, guys? Jeremy Kane, eXp Realty here. Thank you so much for tuning in, living in the Denver suburbs. This is a little bit different, and the reason that it's different is because I want to be completely transparent and honest with my audience. Denver is an amazing city. Colorado is an amazing state, but both in the like are experiencing a pretty serious influx of homeless, unsheltered people in the cities and the surrounding suburbs and beyond. And so we're going to talk about it. We're going to lay it all out there. I'm going to talk about property values because I'm the real estate agent and how that can affect you. So what homeowners specifically could be doing and what buyers should be doing in order to ensure that their investment is exactly what they thought it was on the day of showing. So we're gonna hop right into it. So first things first, I wanna read some statistics to you. There's about 9,065, documented homeless people currently in Denver, which is a 31.7% increase. And this is just in Denver from the previous year, with a significant portion of those being unsheltered. Right? So you say, okay, what's the difference between homeless and unsheltered? The definition of homeless is the term homeless encompasses anyone lacking a stable, permanent, and adequate nighttime residence, right? So this includes people in shelters, people in hotels, motels, temporary housing, on all the way down to the unsheltered. Unsheltered is homeless. Unsheltered homelessness refers to individuals who do not have access to even a temporary shelter and are living in places not meant for human habitation. And so that's the difference there. And so a significant amount of people do not even have that temporary residence. So as a real estate agent, I jump on the web and go to a site that I don't typically visit, but it's Zillow, to see how many homes were for rent, even under $2,000, which for homeless people, experiencing income loss or financial stress is absolutely probably unattainable. And there's only 2,491 homes even listed for rent on that site, which most people look to list their properties in the rental world. And so there's that. And then 1,296 homes for sale under $500,000. And this is the entire metro area from, Evergreen out east to, Byers or the Plains, Strasburg, and Meade down to Castle Rock. So a pretty large area here. That's definitely something that was concerning to me, which I knew, right? And this isn't an affordable housing thing. I understand that real estate and all the like our prices are rising and all the things. But I'm here as an agent, as a consultant for people investing in real estate to protect that investment. And that's, what I want to talk about a little bit today. So obviously with transient homeless populations, there's more people in a smaller space, which typically means that there's more, crime, there's more people, there's more activity going on. And so that's just a natural consequence, right? And I want to be clear right now, and I want to talk about this, right? I am as concerned for the homeless humans out there and what they have to experience on a day-to-day basis, from crime to, the drugs, to the mental health concerns, to all of those things that go into, homelessness in general. And also the people who purchase real estate in those areas that didn't sign up for this and weren't out there, doing this, and in some cases are really trying to solve the problem and are on advocacy groups and all of the things. And so I'm not here to make judgment or say anybody's wrong in this. I just want to bring to light a situation that we need to take action on. And so as we move forward, we can't help but hear the news and watch the news, and undocumented, illegal border crossers are being bussed and dropped off in sanctuary cities. One of the sanctuary cities is Denver, right? So you have San Francisco, New York City, Chicago, Los Angeles, Seattle, Austin, and Denver in that mix of the kind of major sanctuary cities. And so what's the definition of a sanctuary city? In North America, a city whose municipal law tend to protect undocumented immigrants from deportation or prosecution despite federal law, immigration law. And so that can only be increasing as Denver has an extremely, high cost of living. We're bringing these people from, across the border from Texas to here and dropping them off, literally opening the bus doors and saying, here you go. So that clearly, with the lack of inventory in the housing market and all of the things, is obviously going to have an effect on homelessness. And so when that happens, it's, only increasing the problem, right? 5-10 years ago, Denver and Colorado's homeless problem has been increasing as we go. And now we're bringing exponentially more people into this town, which obviously is, a decently high elevation. I think we're known as a mile high city, but also the temperatures in the winter are, pretty brutal for people just be getting off a bus and being like, here you go, here's your new home. And so 31,721 immigrants have documented that Denver is assisting over the last year. That is 4.4% of just that city's population. And as we go, the other cities and other municipalities and counties around are preparing to assist Denver in this problem, because as we've seen, it's not just Denver where the homeless population is gathering. It's pretty much anywhere. You see these tent cities and these tent communities popping up. There are even spots where people have, or the city, I'm sure, has put up shed-like structures with power enough to basically fit a bed, where there used to be, hundreds of tents that, felt like that's where a tent city or community was being built. And they've put these permanent structures in here, which most likely will just draw more and more people to the area in hopes that they can get in there. And, then you have all of the competition for that, safe living space and all of the things. And so that's where it, really comes into play, right? As a homeowner, what do you do to make sure that, first of all, that we're addressing this problem, but also what can you do before this happens in your neighborhood? And this isn't a fear tactic, but to get involved to make sure that there are assistance in place and so on, so that we don't continue to see these, homeless camps popping up in your neighborhood where your kids are, where whatever, right? And here's the deal. It's not anything to do with homelessness or not. If you put more people in a small area, the crime rate's going to go up naturally. Humans are humans. And so that's where we really have to be careful and understand that we have to get involved early. So if you're a homeowner out there, what can you do? You can absolutely make sure that you're involved in the neighborhood watch programs, in HOA communities, in the city council meetings, in the county, in the public school boards, all of the things. And so you can absolutely get involved. And hopefully, if this isn't happening in your area already, make sure that you are a difference in your community to get that taken care of. Because essentially, when crime rates go up and all the things, your property values will definitely be affected. And so that's something to really consider. And it's not all about your property value, but having a safe place where you feel safe, and this investment that you purchased, you have the right to have a say in what goes on in the community. And so I would implore you to do that. And with that said, if you're looking at purchasing a home, as a real estate agent, I always have my clients go to the neighborhood, make sure they feel safe at 10 o'clock at night on a Saturday, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Monday, and so on, right? You get it. Variable times, make sure that that's key, because safety is number one. And if you're investing heavily in the real estate market, because it's not a cheap place to invest these days, you need to make sure that your investment is protected, and then immediately get involved in those community things and so on. And so that's number one, is just self-awareness, get involved in the city council, the government, the school districts, all the things you can do to be a part of the community and have a say. Because if we're not having a say and we're not speaking our voice, then you really can't complain when things come your way, because you weren't involved. And then let's go across the, to a totally different thing. As far as giving back and trying to solve the problem, certainly at a state level, at a city level, make sure that everyone understands that this is a problem, right? I still can't wrap my brain around, okay, yeah, let's bus a bunch of migrants in here. No offense to them, they're just doing their thing, right? They're seeking opportunity because it's given to them. But how can we possibly take more and more and more on and put them in these living situations is the question I would be asking my legislatures and, legislators, representatives, governors, mayors, all the things, right? Are we really doing these people a service by rolling them out of a bus in February in Colorado and just saying, here you go, good luck, right? Especially when they're coming usually from the south and it's a little warmer down there typically. And so that's something that as a city, we have to understand, like, okay, what are we going to do to make this work? And, unfortunately, the government's kind of thought process is, let's just throw more money at it. Well, that's only the documented people that are getting access to that. And ultimately, like, that's your money. So if you're not standing up and you're not talking about it and you're not being a part of the solution, you're only committing more to the problem. And so that's that part. So just make sure that that's that. But also, there are so many things. My daughters and I and my real estate group went downtown recently, and we were packing bags for kiddos who don't have meals from Friday at lunch to Monday. There's a ton of programs that you can get out there. I was actually just recently filming some videos in downtown Littleton, a place called Graceful. Is a pay as you can kind of cafe right there in downtown Littleton, where someone can come in and get a meal or a hot coffee or whatever, and they're not actually required to pay. So there's tons of volunteer efforts and donation efforts that you can do for really good kind of things like that. And that's just one example. I was just actually doing a video out of it, and the executive director came out and talked to me, and it was great to meet her. But get involved in these things. But also, I'm not gonna, name a ton of foundations. And even for Graceful, make sure you do your research and make sure that your hard-earned money and your donations and your time and all your volunteer efforts are going to a, group that you can believe in and that is actually getting the money to the place where you want it to go, because there's all kinds of scams out there, unfortunately. And so that's really my call to action for everybody, right? We have a significant problem. It's growing. And I just want everyone to do everything they possibly can to protect themselves, their investments, and these people who are, have fallen on hard times and, are just doing their thing, right? And I think that by just saying, yep, come on in, we are doing them a complete disservice. Because we are not able to support that, right? It's the infrastructure issue. It's all the things that go into this that need some work. And so I implore you guys to stand up and, please keep the comments. We don't need to make it a huge political debate here, but I just wanted to be real with you guys. I'm, a native of Colorado, of the Denver metro area, and this is what I'm seeing. Boots on the ground, truth. It's not all about, roses and butterflies and Rocky Mountains when you move to Colorado. There is a significant issue, and, it's not just Colorado, right? So, let me know what if you have some ideas on how to solve this problem. definitely in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe. Most of my content is more happy than this, but I just had a feeling that I needed to come to you guys and give it to you real and notate a problem that is absolutely expanding here and in cities across the country. So I hope that helps. I hope this inspired you to, kind of pay attention and at least do your research, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.